Hello, what is up everybody and welcome back to another video. And today we are going to be doing our March Madness bracket. As you can see, this was actually filled out, the Selection Sunday was yesterday, sorry. So I'm going to fill this one out for you and give you my first four predictions. So let's get right into our first four predictions. And so now we are going to be doing our first four predictions. First one we have Howard versus Wagner. I'm going to choose Howard. Yeah, I'm going to circle. I'm going to circle them here and then down there. I'm going to circle them there. Yes. Next, we have Virginia versus Colorado State. I am going to go with Virginia. This is a close one, but I feel like Virginia is going to pull it out. Now let me find them on the bracket. Where is that? Oh yeah, it's down here. Virginia pulls it out against Colorado State. Next is going to be Montana State versus Grambling. I am going to choose Montana State. Not Grambling. Grambling, I think, will win this. They have a much better record. Next, finally, we are going to be choosing Boise State or Colorado. This is a tough one. I think I'm going to have to go with Colorado. Alright, done with our first four predictions. Now, let's head to the first round. Hello guys, we're here, and let's get ready for our first round predictions. So our first one is going to be UConn versus Stetson. UConn, they won the championship last year. They're a 1 seed. I have to choose them. Next, we have Florida Atlantic versus Northwestern. I feel like both teams are good. Florida Atlantic last time, they made a run to the the Final Four before being knocked out by San Diego State by a game-winning shot. But Boo Buie, he is clutch. He is on fire right now, and that's why I feel like Northwestern is going to do it. Is going to win. Next, we have San Diego State versus UAB. San Diego State, they made it to the finals last year. I think they're gonna do the same. They're gonna not do the same thing, but win here against UAB. Next, we have Auburn versus Yale. Now, this is where I feel like Yale could upset Auburn, and I'm not sure about this, so we will come back to it later. But first, let's do BYU versus Duquesne. That one I'm also a little torn on, so we're going to skip past that one and go to Illinois against Morehead State. I mean, Illinois, they just won the Big Ten tournament, and that's why I think they're going to beat Morehead State here. Washington State versus Drake. Personally, I'm going to take Drake here. They have a very good record, and Washington State just does not seem like a good match for them. Drake. Now, let's go to Iowa State versus South Dakota State. I'm going to go with Iowa State. They destroyed Houston, who, by the way, is a number 1 seed. And, yeah, that's really all I have to say. Plus, they're a 2 seed against a 15 seed, so. Next, we have North Carolina versus Howard. I am going to choose North Carolina for this one. They're a 1 seed against a 16 seed, so they will. Now we have Mississippi State against Michigan State. Now Mississippi State, they have the better record, but Michigan State, Tyson Walker, very good, put up a very good match against Purdue, so I think that's why they will win this, MSU. Next, we have St. Mary's versus Grand Canyon. I think this is obvious. St. Mary's a very good team, and that's why I think they will win this one. Next, Alabama versus Charleston. Alabama, they had a very good start early on. They went unranked, but they ended up doing very good in this, in the final stretch of the season. So I'm going to choose Alabama for this one. Next, we have Clemson against New Mexico. I feel like both these teams are evenly matched. So once again, I'm going to move on to Baylor versus Colgate. I think Baylor's going to win this. They've been pretty highly ranked all season, and this should stay the same here as they move on. Next, Dayton against Nevada. They had that run back in like 2020 where they canceled the tournament because of COVID, but now I think they will do it again. And they're going to go to the second round. So they beat Nevada. Next, we have Arizona versus Long Beach State. I'm choosing Arizona. They're a 2 seed, and they seem like a very good team that can go far in the tournament. Next, let's move to the South. We have Houston against Longwood. I am going to choose Houston on this one because they are a very good team. Once again, also a 1 seed, so that kind of makes them have an automatic win, basically. Nebraska versus Texas A&M. Now that Tommy guy, I forget his last name, but he is very good, and as long as Texas A&M doesn't shut him down, Nebraska is going to win and head on to play Houston in the second round. Next, Wisconsin versus James Madison. James Madison, 31-3, one of the best records in college basketball. And honestly, I could see them having a chance against Wisconsin, but because of Wisconsin, they made the Big Ten tournament and they beat Purdue in overtime. I think that's gonna give Wisconsin a little bit of an edge here, but I wouldn't be surprised if James Madison upset Wisconsin. I'm just putting it out there. Next, we have Duke against Vermont. This is where I have my first big upset, really. I have a 13 seed Vermont beating Duke and heading to the second round. Next, Texas Tech versus NC State. NC State, of course, got an automatic qualifier by winning the ACC tournament. They're against Texas Tech, who's a pretty good team, but I see NC State moving on here. They smoked North Carolina to win it, so I feel like they're gonna put up a good match against Texas Tech and win. Kentucky versus Oakland. I'm putting Kentucky because they're the 3 seed, and they are a pretty good team. They blew out Alabama, got like 118 points or something, which I think is a lot. Now next, we have Boise State versus Florida versus Colorado. Now Florida, this team is good, I think, and again against Colorado, who is Also a pretty good team. I'm going to skip this one and come back to it later when we do the ones I skipped. Next, we have Marquette versus Western Kentucky. I mean, Marquette is just a very good team, and they've been good all season, 2 seed for a reason. They played UConn in their conference tournament. They didn't play, if UConn was in their conference, they would have easily won the conference tournament in the Big East. Next, we have Purdue versus Grambling. I'm choosing Purdue. They're my hometown team. They're 1 seed, one of the best teams in the country, in my opinion, the best team. And against a 16 seed Grambling last year, that was nothing. That was a little bit of a fluke. But I think this time we do beat the 16 seed. Now, Utah State versus TCU. I'm going to choose Utah State on this one. Utah State has a very good team. At one point, they were ranked quite high, actually. And that's why I think they end up pulling it off against TCU. Next, we have Gonzaga versus McNeese. I have Gonzaga winning this. They've been a very good contender and a good team these past few years, and I think that's going to continue as they head on to the second round. Next, we have Kansas versus Stanford. Now, Kansas, they have a few injuries. Hunter Dickinson and C.J. McCullough, I think that's his name. Both of them very good players, but I think that Kansas, the 4 seed, can beat the 13 seed. Sorry. Next, South Carolina versus Oregon. South Carolina been a very good team all season, really. Been ranked high, kind of the same reasons as Utah State. And they're playing Oregon, who isn't the best of teams. So that's why I'm choosing South Carolina. Creighton and Akron. Now next we have Creighton and Akron. Creighton, a 3 seed. And I think they are a very good team and could make a big run in this tournament. So that's why I am going to choose Creighton. Yep, okay. Next, for our final 2 games of the first round, we are going to have Texas versus Virginia. Both these teams are very good teams. I'm going to hold off on that for now. As we go to Tennessee versus St. Peter's. St. Peter's made that run to the Elite Eight, the farthest a 15 seed has ever done a few years ago. But I feel like this time Tennessee is going to have what it takes to beat the St. Peter's and move on to the second round. Now, let's go back and do the ones that we skipped. First, we had Auburn and Yale. So Auburn, a very good team once again. And this would be my second 4-13 upset if Auburn beats Yale. If Yale beats Auburn. But I believe that Auburn, very good team in the SEC, super highly touted, could make a big run in this tournament, will end up, I actually haven't made up my mind on this one. We're going to BYU versus Duquesne. Duquesne, they won the A10 tournament, yet they're 11 seed and Dayton's a 7. But besides that, I think Duquesne and BYU both very good teams. I think Duquesne is going to win this one. Duquesne. Then we have Clemson and New Mexico. Now, Clemson, a 6 seed. They're very good. I am choosing Clemson to win this, even though New Mexico has the better record. Next, we have Florida versus Colorado. Once again, both very good teams, but Florida, I feel like they've played better SEC contenders. Colorado have had SDSU, but in the end, I think Florida's going to prevail in a very close match. 7 seed, yep. Florida. Now, we have Texas versus Virginia. I will go with Virginia. Last year, 4 seed. I thought they were going to make a run to the Final Four. They ended up losing in the first round to a 13 seed. But I feel like this year they will not repeat that because they're not a 4 seed, as Texas will win. They will lose in the first round again, but not as a 4 seed against a 13 seed. Finally, we have that Auburn-Yale game again. Keep going back and forth on who I think is going to win. And honestly, I see Yale as a very good team. They won on a last-second shot to make the tournament and have Brown, who would have won and made it to the tournament, end up losing and not even making the tournament. But all that hype has to come to an end, and Auburn will move on to the second round. So those are my first round picks. I will see you in a second for the second round picks. All right, now we're here for the second round picks. These ones are very good. Many teams making it, upsets in the first round have happened. But let's start it with UConn against Northwestern. UConn, they won the national championship last year. Obviously, they're going to be a contender again this year when they're a 1 seed. And they're playing Northwestern, who I feel like if they were really on their game, could beat UConn. But I feel that UConn has that pride to go out there and beat Northwestern. Next, I have San Diego State versus Auburn. Now, Auburn, I think, after playing a game against Yale, where, in my opinion, is a tough game, they're going to be tired. San Diego State going to be ready to go out there and kick down Auburn to move on to the next round against UConn. Now we have Illinois versus Duquesne. Illinois, once again, won the Big Ten tournament. And Duquesne, while I think they are a good team, Illinois is just better. And they will move on to the Sweet 16. Now we have Drake versus Iowa State. Both teams very good. But Iowa State, they've done quite a good job late in the season in their surge to a 2 seed. And that's why I think they will win against Drake. Now we have North Carolina against Michigan State. North Carolina 1 seed, I feel like they are pretty good against Michigan State, who once again put up a good fight against Purdue. But I'm going to go with North Carolina because they're a 1 seed, and that's just, I think they're really good and could go a long way. Hold on. Sorry. Next we have St. Mary's against Alabama. Alabama and St. Mary's, both good teams. St. Mary's has just been a very good team, and I see them moving on here to beat Alabama. Clemson and Baylor. So here's what I would. Clemson and Baylor are both good teams. Baylor a very good team, and they will beat Clemson here to move on to the Sweet 16. Now we have Dayton versus Arizona. Dayton a good team, but Arizona just amazing. I was honestly kind of surprised that they didn't get a 1 seed because they are such a good team. But I think that they will beat Dayton. Next we have Houston versus Nebraska. Houston and Nebraska was a good team. Once again, just like the UConn Northwestern matchup, if Nebraska is really on their game, they could beat Houston. But I feel that Houston going to be able to shut down that one guy that's really good at shooting. And Houston will move on against Nebraska. Next, we have Wisconsin versus Vermont. Now, Vermont, a very good team. They, in my opinion, beat Duke and could beat Wisconsin. Wisconsin, a very good team. I am going to have to go home. I feel like this is going to be quite a good game that I'm going to hold off on for now because I still haven't decided. And by the way, guys, this is like me looking at the bracket really and like making my picks for it for the first time. So yes, this is a little bit of a, like, that's why I'm going back on these to think on them. But now we have North Carolina State versus Kentucky. I think Kentucky puts up a great fight, but North Carolina State, this really big surge that got them to the tournament in the first place, is going to bring them to beat Kentucky. Next, we have Florida versus Marquette. Florida, after barely beating Colorado in the first round, I think Marquette will be much better, and they will easily beat Florida. Next, we have Purdue and Utah State. Purdue, once again, my team. I really won't go against them. And that's why I think they're going to beat them. Anyways, they are a better team than Utah State. But now we have Gonzaga and Kansas. Both very good teams. I've said this like 20 times. And I think, though, Gonzaga depends. I don't know the injury situation for Kansas, but I do think I'm gonna hold on off on this really quick. I'm gonna search up the injury situation for Dickinson and McCullough to see how bad they are and see if they're out, because that could change the way this game goes. Next, we have Creighton versus South Carolina. Creighton, a very good team. They are going to make a good run in this tournament. That's why I think they will win. Next, Texas versus Tennessee. I am going for Tennessee on this one. Tennessee, a very good team. Also, again, could have gotten a 1 seed. Easily, it was just a matter of what teams the people in the selection show thought. So it could have been, like, the 1 seed could have been Arizona, Marquette, or Tennessee. Like, all those teams are easily 1 seeds here. But Tennessee gonna win again. So now let's go back to Wisconsin and Vermont. I've gone on my decision. Wisconsin, a very good team playing against Vermont, who hasn't played as much good competition, even though Vermont, is very good and they won their conference tournament. Wisconsin lost it, and I'm going to have to go with Vermont. Vermont making a run to the Sweet 16. Exactly what I thought they could do. Next, we have Gonzaga versus Kansas. And I believe that Gonzaga and Kansas, once again, both very good teams. I think that Gonzaga ultimately will pull this out against Kansas. A disappointing season for Kansas. They could have gone farther without injuries. But that's it for my second round picks. And I will see you for my Sweet 16 picks. Hello guys, we're back the following morning because I had a lot of stuff to do after my second round picks. So let's get into our Sweet 16 picks. First, we have UConn versus San Diego State. This is a rematch of the championship last year, and both teams could easily beat each other, but I'm going to go with UConn on this one. And they're a 1 seed for a reason, and they are considered the best team by a lot of people. Next, I have Illinois versus Iowa State. Both teams very good. I feel like Illinois making that late season surge once again is going to be able to bring them through another game. Next, we have North Carolina versus St. Mary's. I'm going to go with the upset here and choose St. Mary's. Think St. Mary's. While North Carolina is the 1 seed, St. Mary's is also very good, and they should win this. Next, we have Baylor versus Arizona. Now, Baylor and Arizona, I feel like this is very evenly matched, but at the end of the day, I'm going to go with Arizona. They've been at the top of the pack for a very long time. Well, Baylor's kind of been in and out of that, constant stuff. Next, we have Houston versus Vermont. Vermont made it to the Sweet 16 in my bracket, but I feel like this is where their magic ends as they lose to Houston to send Houston to the Sweet 16. Okay. Next, we have NC State versus Marquette. Once again, I think another Cinderella run is going to end right here, as Marquette will beat NC State and move on. Now, Purdue versus Gonzaga. For this one, I'm going to choose Purdue. Very good team. They've beaten Gonzaga before this season. It was early, but I think that Purdue can do the same thing here. Next, we're going to have Creighton versus Tennessee. I'm going to go... This is a tough one, so let me think about it. Okay. Creighton and Tennessee, both teams pretty evenly matched, but I'm going to go with Creighton, who moves on to the Elite Eight to play Purdue. Those are my Sweet 16 picks. Now let's get to my Elite Eight picks. Hi guys, and we're back with my Elite Eight picks. So first thing, we got UConn versus Illinois. UConn defending champ, our favorite to win the tournament. Illinois also a very good team, but I think UConn ends up beating Illinois. Next, we have St. Mary's versus Arizona. So, both teams very good. Arizona should have been a 1 seed, honestly, in my opinion. But I'm going to have them beat St. Mary's. So they move on to the Final Four. Next, we have Houston versus Marquette. I feel like this is very evenly matched. At the end of the day, Marquette, they've played UConn like twice this year, and then once in the tournament, so that, like, Big East tournament. So that's a total of like 3 times they've played each other this year. And that gives Marquette some tough competition, and that's why I think they will pull it out here against Houston to move on to the Final Four. Our last Elite Eight game, we're going to have Purdue versus Creighton. Now, Creighton is a very good team. I feel like they could make the Final Four, but once again, Purdue is Purdue. So that's why I'm sticking with Purdue to win this game against Creighton. Next, I will see you for a Final Four prediction. Here are my Final Four predictions. So first off, I have UConn versus Arizona, and I think UConn will make it back. It's looking good for them right now that they could have a case of back-to-back championships. Next, we have Marquette versus Purdue. Purdue has played Marquette earlier this year, and Purdue beat Marquette by a bit. And I feel like they will do the same here. So they will move on to the championship. So those are my final 4 picks. And I'll see you for my national championship pick. All right, guys, the moment you've all been waiting for. Will I have UConn win back-to-back, or will I have Purdue end it off with a win as Zach Edey's final career game? Now, it's a very evenly matched game. I feel like this game might go to overtime even, but in the end, I think Purdue will pull it out and be my March Madness champions. So that's going to do it for today's video. Hope you liked it. Please consider liking it and subscribing. It helps out my channel a lot. And for now, goodbye, peace out, and eat more chicken. Bye-bye.